It's somewhere where I feel really accepted.
It inspires me to be something more than I already am.
It's a place where I found something that I'm really passionate about.
It lets me express myself in a way that I can't express anywhere else.
I believe it's a form of art, and my favorite thing in the world is making people laugh. So, yeah.
It helps you become more outgoing.
I think it's awesome. Community, friendship, joy, emotion, happiness, cool things, more that I'm numbering off, but I can't think of right now.
Nowhere else in the school can I get like a group of people as united, and I actually feel accepted for once in my entire life. Theater is the best thing that happened to me.
I was a stupid
Theater is more than just an interest or a hobby. Unfortunately, most people don't recognize the underlying values and the opportunities that it can provide, even those involved.
As members of Thespian Troop 3985 at McHenry High School, this is something we have noticed not only amongst our peers, but also at the advisory and administrative levels. We set out to learn the scope of limitations placed upon the department has evolved over the last several decades, and what we could do to change it.
We found that the support of students and administration alike influenced the opportunities allotted to the department in both positive and negative ways. The more we learned, the more we realized that the opportunities being denied to the students involved were inhibiting their abilities to succeed in theater as a whole.
Theater is an environment where students can go to express themselves in a judgment-free setting, some of which even realize their talents, passions, and future careers. The McHenry High School Theater Department consists of two Thespian troupes, Troop number 3985 at East Campus and Troop number 4010 at West Campus. Over the course of the school year, students work on a one-act children's show along with 3 main stage shows, fall shows at East and West Campus, and a combined musical in the spring. Students also collaborate to offer workshops for middle schoolers, participate in a dinner theater production over the summer, and attend monthly meetings.
Even though the McHenry Theater Department is able to put on relatively successful shows, its financial situation has always been an issue of concern.
And so I started in the fall of my first year directing with $492 in the theater department budget that I had to put on the fall play with. So I did bought a lot on credit because the school wouldn't, there's no budget for theater at McHenry High School. It's all from ticket sales, and there wasn't at that time either.
At the high school level, students in theater are rarely given the chance to experience what it is like to participate in a professional setting. High school theater troupes often lack proper funding, and the only revenue they receive comes from ticket sales. Some schools have a budget put in place for theater groups, but many start from basically nothing and have to build themselves financially.
I've always said we need a little something because we can't even start a program, whether it be to stock up on paint over the summer or get some extra material if it's on sale, or most importantly, get the rights for that show. It depends on the show. Sometimes it's going to be a high costume show. Sometimes there's simple costumes, but the set's big and we spend a lot of money on paint or props or something. So I've kind of now been balancing it in a way that I can keep it come back to my ground zero, which is around 2,000. But right away, you're going to have to pay for licensing and rights, which could be anywhere from a couple hundred to maybe $700, $800, or $1,000, depending on the show. Mm-hmm. Sometimes if you do a Shakespeare show, it's public domain, so you don't have to pay for the rights. So it just depends again on the show.
This lack of money going into the department has become increasingly apparent, especially when you look at the type of equipment that we are using. This problem has been holding students back, and they have been taking notice.
Well, I love the theater department, but we lack funding for many things. We constantly have to reuse materials to make things like sets and costumes. A lot of our stuff in there is really old.
The lack of funding toward each of the troupes has continuously limited drama students in their understanding of technical theater, as well as their potential to succeed within the business
Especially
in the
coming
future.
from the tech side, I know it's always hard because more the newer stuff
is always a lot more money, and working with new stuff, it's always expensive. Going to just other schools' productions and kind of taking a look at their other crews, and then you look at what they're using and you're just like, wow, like that's really cool. And you come back and see some of the equipment we're still using, which is like decades old.
The sound and lighting boards at both campuses were bought in 2002, meaning they are over 12 years old. That's older than the kids we worked with in Macbeth.
Well, we can't do certain shows because we don't have the certain technical things. Like, if we had a fly system, then we could do Peter Pan,
Like
but
going
we
up
don't.
into the higher levels of theater, especially if someone were to pursue like that far into theater, they're just really limited in terms of just working with things.
But even with this limited technology, the students have still found acceptance and enjoyment within the program.
It lets me do what I love, and you get the biggest rush from walking on stage or even being backstage.
It's one of the most accepting places I know, and just what we're able to accomplish is amazing.
It's with my family, and I can be myself with them. It gives me a place to be creative. It's kind of like a stress reliever at the end of the day.
It's like a safe space to really express yourself. You can do whatever you want, be whoever you want to be, and nobody will judge you for it.
Warm and fuzzy feelings are great, but these people don't realize what possibilities theater could offer them in the future.
This year we were lucky enough to work with professional stunt choreographer Orion Cooling on the school's production of The Pirates of Penzance.
You could see guys or girls going, I could be a stuntman. You know what I mean? Like, I would have never thought to think of that as a vocation, to say, you know, there's something here. I'm always thinking, you know, sing, dance, act, music theater, Broadway. Everybody thinks that way. But there are so many other opportunities that people could do.
This year, there's a student who's planning to pursue the theatrical arts in her future. We asked her if she felt prepared for college theater and beyond.
I don't want to say it's limited me like completely, because I have learned a lot here. I've met a lot of great people. I've learned a lot about being an actor and like having to deal with people and stuff. But there are definitely limitations that our theater program has that I wish weren't there.
Opportunities for McHenry High School theater students are being diminished by the lack of support from the school and its administration when it comes to what they can and cannot do in terms of performance.
Only do G-rated shows, which cuts out so many shows, so many great shows that have little tiny things like Chorus Line, Chicago, Pippin, just because they have little tiny sexual things.
If you're not given the opportunity to do something that explores like sexuality, that explores things like themes that we actually struggle with as human beings, but for whatever reason, sometimes people believe that teenagers need to be protected from those themes. If you decide you want to go into theater and you get into college, your list of, you know, what you've worked on is going to seem a little infantile.
And it's kind of unfortunate because these people have so many passions that they can pursue, and they have like the abilities in hand, but there's nothing there to help push them forward and really find what they can and can't do.
People take things out of hand and they don't understand that it's art. They think that we're personally trying to attack them, and it's not.
We did some shows when I was directing theater that I don't think you would be allowed to do in today's environment, because they were a little risque and they were a little, you know, less child friendly. And from what I understand, there's been kind of a directive given that a lot of your shows need to be family oriented, kind of child friendly. We did a number of shows that I know never would have made it past the current administration.
Not only are we currently limited content-wise, but we are unable to experience outside theatrical opportunities such as field trips and attending conventions.
So there's been a clampdown on field trips, and that kind of, I know for you guys that's been a difficult time because of like the inability to attend the State Theater Fest.
And they have like shows where you get to go work as an entire group with a bunch of other people from other schools. It gives the school like itself an opportunity. You don't need to purchase all this equipment with like money we might not have for the program, and just being able to go and work with this newer equipment, some of these kids can go and just be able to see what it's really like to work on like a full like production and see all the really big and expensive like technology that they can work with.
This year, 2 students were able to attend the festival in January. Senior Emma Linder recalls her experiences and what she learned there.
You got to see like kids perform shows. You got to just meet with other kids, do workshops and stuff. I definitely, the whole like point of it was to reignite your like theater, love of theater, and it really did, because being around people who love it as much as you do and put so much energy into it, it was a really cool experience, and I really loved it. I remember just being at Theater Festival like the whole time and just being like, man, I really wish the rest of the kids were here because they would have loved this so much. Because it wasn't just about acting, it was about technical stuff. So they had like sound stuff, makeup stuff, they had stuff for like everybody. And the most important part about theater is the other people in it and the community that it like brings. And I think really trying to reach out into the community, reach out to other programs, reach out to students that you don't normally work with.
I think we should get over language boundaries and sexual boundaries so that we can do really great shows.
If administration is willing to pull back on the current restrictions to the program, the students will have more opportunities than ever to succeed.
If the arts, and particularly theater, ceases to exist or diminishes to the point where it's no longer like the quality that it has been here at McHenry High School, I think that will close off opportunities for a lot of students who might not have opportunities anywhere else. And in my time as a theater director, I've learned about the power that theater has to transform lives. And I mean that not only for the life of the theater director, but also for the lives of the students. I know for a fact that I've had students that I've worked with who would have been lost without theater. So to lose the ability to transform your life, or to allow a piece of art to transform your life, would be a terrible thing.